right. Welcome to 6G Agenda. We are live. I'm just letting everybody kind of get rolled in. Welcome in. How we doing? Happy Friday. It's a little pop-up live. I just put a post out too because I know we've had issues with notifications going out. So I went ahead and put a post out as well. We'll see if it works. Maybe the two things together will get some kind of notification to people. We'll see how it goes. Welcome on. How we doing today? I did have a show scheduled and I screwed up the time. Totally my bad. So hopefully we can figure out a time to reschedule that, him and I. That sucks. I screwed that up. So I figure I'll do a live show. You may have seen the name. I know some people aren't from my generation, so I'll get it out of the way now. Baal Is Life is obviously like a play on words. Ball is life, like basketball. It's just kind of a term. A lot of people know that, but we do have, people from all different generations in this crowd. So Baal Is Life. We're going to be talking about the ballroom. We'll be talking about, obviously, Trump's, his whole deal. And yeah, so, Alchemy, I'm glad you got a notification, but I didn't on my phone whenever I went live, which is weird. So I made that post as well. Hopefully it works. But yeah, Baal Is Life. We're going to be talking about the ballroom, the recent events with the shooter and that weird situation. But yeah, ballers, shot callers. Yeah, Birdman, So yeah, we're going to get into it. Welcome in. I'm going to let everybody kind of roll in a little slow here. And I'll get it going. And I hope you guys are enjoying this new membership program we have going on. We've got a few in the archive right now. You can get early access to a lot of these streams. They're going to be going straight to the membership program when we're done here. So if you miss it, then you can always get it on the membership program. If you're hearing this on the free feed now, this has probably been a week or so since I did this show. And so, yeah, if you want to catch it right away, go ahead and go to the membership program. There's going to be some in the archive right now, guaranteed. I'm going to keep it rolling where there's always early access episodes on the archive. So anyway, same thing with Spotify. Go subscribe. And otherwise, give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend. And let's get to it. Welcome to 6G Agenda. As always, we're here to talk about what they won't. That's what we do, man. We were doing a show whenever the shooting happened, the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. We were on here actually live whenever that was going on. I was scrolling through X at some point while I was doing that show, finding things. And I wish I would have seen the posts that were about it because it was literally while we were talking. It would have been breaking news. But, hey, win some, you lose some. Outside of that, we're going to be talking a little bit about the shooter himself, his connections to NASA and the JPL laboratory. And we know the connections with the Babylon workings and Jack Parsons and time travel, Tesla. There is so much to get into with this shooting that happened. And within 24 hours, I mean, all the conspiracies were just ready to go. It's crazy, huh? Seems like they're perpetuating conspiracies on purpose. If you ask me, that's exactly what they're doing. Makes me skeptical on all the conspiracies I did believe in for the longest time, even though I know that they're true. It makes me wonder what the angle is. Like, why are they trying to expose the reactionary, what do they want? What is the reaction that they're looking for? We talked a lot about our theories on this show as far as this digital temple, changing the attitudes and minds of the people through things like mind wars, info wars. I don't know if you saw, but Alex Jones did his last hoorah goodbye on InfoWars. I think it was yesterday. So weird that guy would know before anybody else knew about Mind Wars and Michael Aquino, that he would know that this all boils down to info wars, mind wars. He even kept it one word, just like Michael Aquino. I just wonder, is that proof of something? So anyway, these are the thoughts I'm having currently as we're kind of walking through these current events. And so we're going to take an analysis of kind of what we think. Also, vindication, smart dust, all these things are becoming commonplace in conversations online and social media. The Overton window is being moved over. And everything we talked about last year, all the way up to this year, is now becoming normal to speak about People are going viral for talking about it. If I go post about it, probably won't happen. Certain people are talking about it because certain people have angles. But anyway, let's look at this stuff. So, the ballroom. Let's just talk about the ballroom for a minute. We've spoken about this whole idea that, it looks like Solomon's temple from the top, right? Let me backtrack a minute. Just to recap. Now, for the people that didn't hear the last show, I just want to say, we talked about digital temple with Ben, okay? And so this idea that like they want to create this police state, Palantir, technocratic police state, and it's going to be an esoteric version of the physical temple where the sacrifice doesn't occur through animal sacrifice, it occurs through the consciousness of the individuals that enter into the system. Hence the age of Aquarius, we're entering into a new age. One of the man with the water pitcher, the water being consciousness, the soul, the equivalent of your mind, body, and spirit. And so we're going to pour it out and pour it into this system and become a hive mind, essentially, is what they want to do. Just kind of a nutshell of what we're talking about. So when we're looking at this ballroom and we find out that it's supposed to be a bunker that serves for a essentially, like, as we'll look at it, it's like it's a command center for this police state. And if that's the case, and it looks like a temple, well, goddamn, that digital temple idea is really starting to sound real, isn't it? Sorry for the GD. My apologies. I know that hurts people's ears. I apologize. Yes, so that is a nutshell of what's going through my mind. I hope you guys are tracking and see what I'm getting at here. So it's pretty nuts. Chris, I'm glad you liked the title. I thought about it the other day. I was like, dude, that's going to be a good title, I feel like. Baal Is Life, dude. Baal Is Life. That's who we're dealing with. These people, these psychos, man, that are willing to, have a guy, they get a guy with material in him. And, as the other guy had. And this guy goes and shoots up a place. He can't see anybody he's trying to go after. All the targets he said he wants to go after, he can't see them. He still shoots his gun. Makes no sense. He had a whole manifesto saying who he was going to go after. We're going to get into all this with the shooter. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the ballroom layout. Look at me, I can't type. See if we can't find one. I'm sure you've seen it for the White House. Apparently I can't spell. So this is it right here. Very close rendition. I mean, look at that. Trump's proposed ballroom White House. I mean, that's as close as you get to Solomon's Temple. Now we can look at Solomon's Temple from above just to make sure. Everybody says it, but does anybody really show the two? Let's look. Let's see here. I don't know if they even have a good picture of what it used to look like. Okay. Wow. So we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close here. Let me see which one's probably the best rendition of what we're trying to show. It even goes off to the left. Well, it goes off both ways. So this is a decent one. Okay. And let's look at what he's doing. Well, goddamn. Oh, did it again. I apologize. Yeah, it is pretty close. Anyway, so point being, then he reads, then he decides to read from Chronicles 2. Let's look at this reading, a quote from the reading, because I believe it's about Solomon turning back to Christ, or back to God, and turning from his wicked ways. Here we go. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now, this was read by Trump. It's very weird that he would talk about, something that had to do with Solomon's temple and Solomon and him being wicked, turning from his wicked ways, and then, God will come to him. But remember, he works with the Shabbat people who believe that the wicked is the Western society. They believe the anti-gods, the ungodly people, are people like us. They believe that it's mostly Christians. And so when you know the inversion of what they actually believe, because they still look at themselves as God's chosen from the first, you know, uh, Old Testament. They still look at it that way, and they still look at like Ezekiel and go, "We're going to do that to these people. These people are Amalek," but they apply Amalek to anybody. And a lot of these people, of course, they're atheist or they're and they're posing as Jew or like like Netanyahu, they're just Ashkenazi coming from Poland. He's got weird ties with all that shit. His dad was just a crazy Zionist, and here we are. So, point being, when he's working with these people and he thinks he's King Cyrus. Who was King Cyrus? I know who he was, but let's look. Cyrus the Great. I believe he liberated the Jewish people. He was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian Empire, which became the largest empire in the world at that time. They want another empire to be made. But let's get to what he did with the Jewish people. He was a follower of the Persian religion, not Jewish, but he was celebrated in the Hebrew Bible for issuing the Edict of Cyrus, which permitted the Jewish exiles in Babylon to return to their homeland and rebuild the Temple of Jerusalem. So here we are. Now, okay, there we go, right there. So he's supposed to be another Cyrus. He's going to send the Jewish people back to their homeland like Hitler. And, so let's look at this Cyrus coin, Trump coin, that was made. This has both of them on it, overlaid. His face overlaid with Cyrus. So this is the kind of crazy psychopathy that we're dealing with. It's called the Temple coin. You see that? And look at that, 2017, which means, guys, this isn't something he switched up and started doing in this administration. He wanted to go after Iran in the first administration, remember? So, again, we see now the full picture a little bit better. So before we start talking about the shooter in the ballroom, let's look at this, right? So now, the ballroom was put on hold. Let's look at that. The construction of the White House ballroom has been put on hold due to a federal judge's ruling that requires congressional approval before any further work can proceed. The National Trust for Historic Preservation sued to stop the construction, arguing that the president does not have the authority to build the ballroom without such authorization. Of course, he needs congressional approval to spend any money. That's how it works. They have to approve our tax money to go to anything. But this guy he takes your money and he just says, fuck you, I'm going to go spend it. And then he acts like he's saving money from Doge, when in reality, he takes the exact amount from Doge. And guess what? The same amount that the Pentagon, budget went up, that's how much he spent on Doge. But here's the thing. We still ended up spending more money than we usually do, like we do every year. Our spending went up. Why? Because we had Project Stargate, $500 billion. We had, all these different projects right away. I mean, look at all the executive orders he signed. Every one of them is an operation that costs more money. You mix in the jobs that he's been doing, military operations he's been doing, and the $2 billion a day it costs to keep this Iran war going, which, trust me, it still is costing just as much, even though we're in a ceasefire. It's probably not just as much, but it's up there. Because we're still doing operations, not like actually bombing, but there's still a lot going on. So, anyway, point being, it's a controlled demolition of our global economy, mainly the US dollar. He said he supports the destruction of the dollar. We'll get into that. But first of all, this construction has to stop thing with the ABC News. This came out. Let's look at the date. March 31st. So March 31st. So he's had to stop for about a month now. So then we have the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which was sponsored. Do you guys remember who it was sponsored by? Grindr. Yeah. The Grindr officially joined forces with the White House Correspondents Association for its upcoming dinner party. The California-based organization is all set to headline the dinner before the main event, making it their first ever time hosting such a night. Wow, under Trump, right? The Christian, yeah. The dinner party will take place in Washington, Georgetown, and will bring together policymakers, journalists, and LGBTQ community leaders as they toast the First Amendment. Well, that's really ironic that they say they're toasting the First Amendment, because we're going to show a clip from Erica Kirk when she was talking on Charlie Kirk's, and she was literally saying that the radicalization of Americans is the problem. That's what killed her husband. That's what, led to this teacher. Oh, it's a teacher. So here we are, with Melania Trump and how AI has got to teach your kid. And we'll go into that. There's more videos about that. So all this is being pushed at once. I mean, we're in a weird place, guys. I'm trying to keep up. So we know who owns Grindr. We know who owns OnlyFans. We know who owns Pornhub. We know that Rabbi owns Pornhub. We know that these people, right, perpetuate smut. The digital Weimar conditions that we've been sitting in because of the left is being perpetuated by Trump too. But the difference is the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That is different. It says the first time ever hosting such a night. Think about that. So anyway, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, how about this? It's a little bit off topic, but not quite. We're going to get back to what we're talking about. But look at this. Hopefully you could hear it. Let me know.
So I'm getting a chip implanted into my brain. There's a study happening in LA, and I'm going over there to get this chip implanted in my brain so that I can pay my rent. They're going to compensate me heavily for my participation and all the data that they retrieve. So you're basically talking to a future robot. I'm so excited.
So this is the thoroughly indoctrinated. This is what they look like. Hey, they weren't wrong on the right when they talked about the pink hair, the purple hair, and all that crazy shit. Like, they weren't wrong when they said that there's a certain type of person that is just like fully involved with this just weird transhumanist movement. So, woo, lots to throw at you. Let's break all this down for a minute. We'll get back to the ballroom shooter or the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter. We just got done talking about this digital temple. And right after that, we had this shooting. And we just talked about this with Ben. If you didn't catch the stream, like I said, it's in the membership program. And I highly recommend you check it out. Whether you're on Patreon, Spotify, or YouTube, you could get all of our subscription. All of it's going to have live access to these shows earlier than they come out on the free feed. YouTube's going to be the earliest you'll find it, just because YouTube seems to get all the love because we do our streams through there. And it just holds an archive. So great spot to go, even though it is the devil. And I apologize. But Rumble only pays you in Bitcoin. So, I mean, what do you want me to do? Because I'm not doing that. Point being, let's go to the shooter. This ballroom. Well, let's go to the ball. How many posts was there about the ballroom after this shooting happened? Just to keep it on track with what we were just talking about. Let's just type in ballroom into my bookmarks. Oh, what? Here, I'll type in ballroom into the search because I didn't save it. All right, ballroom. That's all we got to type. I'm dropping a bill tomorrow. Let's build the ballroom. Build the White House ballroom. Trump. Well, this was March 29th. Let's move past it. This was April 29th. This was right after the shooting. Okay. So let's listen to Trump. Of course, he wants the ballroom. He even said, he's like, I didn't want to have to say this. That was literally something he said. I didn't want to have to say this, but this is why we're going to need the ballroom. Insane. All right, so let's get you guys on here. Get you set up here. So, sorry you didn't see, but I'll show you the other post.
I'm building the safe ballroom. And one of the reasons I'm building it is exactly what happened last night. We're building a room right there. If you walk out and move 20 yards to the left, you'll be right at the entrance to the ballroom. And that ballroom is being built on the safest piece of property in this country, probably one of the safest pieces of land in the world. And this has bulletproof glass. This has, this is the highest level of security. Also, very importantly, I could have built suites on top. I could have done a lot of things. And I said, no, this has to be pure. This has to be where people stay off property and they go through one.
Sorry, here's my thing. Why does he insist on saying things like, I could have built suites on top? I mean, I could have went crazy, but I was like, no, this has to be pure, guys. I mean, come on, chill out. Even though he's the one coming up with the idea, right? He's sitting there in a room going, man, you know what we could do? We could throw some suites on there. We could do some gold. We could have like just extravagant. We should just go crazy. And he's like, no, relax. What are you guys thinking? And it's him just thinking about the ideas by himself. He's just insane. But the fact that he has to say it like he's holier than thou, like he's actually doing a good thing, is it's the inversion, satanic inversion that we see all the time with this man. So again, what happened last night is exactly the reason there are military, service, law enforcement, and for different reasons, every president for the last 150 years have been demanding, I don't think that's true, that a large, safe, and secure ballroom be built on the grounds of the White House. This event would never happen with the military top secret ballroom, top secret, currently under construction at the White House. It cannot be built fast enough. While beautiful, it has every highest level security feature there is. There are no rooms sitting on the top. Dude, this is how, by the way, guys, this is how a coup happens of your government. I hope you guys know. Whenever you get something like this set up, like this is where this is leading. I mean, I might be crazy for saying this out loud, but I hope you guys see like the writing on the wall. The coup happens whenever you get people with the most high-tech, like Palantir guys all inside the White House, inside of this place. You know these guys are in there. And then what? They could just do whatever they want. They launch all the drones. They launch all the police systems. It's odd, man. I think that this is a slippery slope. We don't need some kind of crazy security. They already have the continuity of government. They already have a system of, the vice president dies, this person goes, all that. They have Secret Service. They have all the security they could possibly need. So, I mean, anyway. So here is what they want to put up. Now, I want to show you also, the ballroom is going to have a bunker. That's the whole idea here. It's this high-tech. It's not about what's above the ground. It's about what's underground when it comes to the ballroom. So let's check that out. The ballroom underneath will house the most advanced secure military bunker complex system in history to include medical facilities, a hospital, biodefense systems. It features military-resistant and blast-proof structures, top-secret military applications to protect from drone swarms, hypersonic threats, and other modern attacks. These details were exposed in the lawsuit. It dwarfs the White House. Yeah, again, this is how you get, 90,000 square foot ballroom. That's way bigger than the White House. Insane. Now you see why the elites want World War III, so they could better prepare for the geophysical event. Trump has admitted that a large fortified doomsday bunker is being built under the ballroom. Oh, well, let's go ahead and hear that. Does he say that?
The military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building.
He's like, well, I guess I got to tell you, since this stupid lawsuit made me have to fucking talk about it. God, man, it's so transparent once you see through the facade.
Building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. And the ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones.
The ballroom becomes a shed for what's underneath the ballroom. A 90,000 square foot military complex, high-tech bunker. And the top is just a shed It's a shed, guys.
And including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass, so all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the south. We don't have a stairway in the south. That was replaced a long time ago. But this is a view of it from the north, and that's, if you see it, it fits in with the White House. It's almost a twin to the White House. It's something we just wanted to pay tribute to the White House.
A twin to the White House. It's bigger than the White House. We already saw it dwarfs it, as it said. Now, somebody's trying to connect this to the geomagnetic pole shift. That's the same guy who was just saying that a minute ago that I was reading from. This magnetic pole shift. I mean, this is crazy. We always got to get the most wild theories out here. Look, I've read the Adam and Eve story that was on the CIA website that talks about this idea. I know about The Day After Tomorrow that was based off of that book. Listen, I've read into the guy who wrote that shit, and I don't think he's very credible. And there might be something to a little bit of a shift, but I don't think that is what... We can't time it. It's not something we're timing, and it's every, I don't know, man. I think that they're out of their minds. But hey, let's check it out. Why not? A little offshoot of what we're talking about real quick. Maybe we don't need to. That'll be another show. It's ridiculous. So, the ballroom needs to be built. Now, let's check out this Corey Allen guy. I know you're like, dude, get to the crazy shit about the post. Yeah, exactly, we will. Dude, I didn't save anything. Oh, wait, is it C-O-R-Y? No. I didn't save any of it. I did a terrible job with this. Okay, so let's go to all the things. Well, I don't know if you saw the video, but it literally looked like he got to walk to the side into this room. See, that's him right there. He gets to walk into the room. The K9 right there. The K9's right here. Looking at him, trying to get him. He smells the gun. The guy's looking at him. The police officer's looking right at him. And then he comes out. And he starts running. So we'll get past this guy's rendition of it. Man, they really... Corey Allen, 31, registered Democrat from Torrance, California. Liberal activist, Antifa operative, and teacher. All right. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was. I don't know, man. Oh, Cole Allen. I'm an idiot. Guys, you're probably like, dude, his name's Cole. What an idiot. Okay, here, hold on a second. I definitely saved stuff on it. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, it is a video in 2017 with Usha Vance. Get the fuck out of here. Check this out. The shooter was in a video with Usha Vance. Let's check it out. Oh.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
A recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors.
I'm pretty sure that's her. Is that her? Is that her? Hold on a second. Let's find out. Let me see here. I can't spell. Vance's wife, Usha Vance. Is that her? Let's get a good side profile, because that's what she's doing there. Okay. Let's find out. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Dude, that's definitely her. Wow.
14 different text.
Wow. Okay. God. This person says, remember, nothing is a coincidence. This is satanic from the Epstein elite. The woman in the 2017 video is not Usha Vance. Now, here, hold on a second. Now, I will show you. I hate to get off tangent here. I'll go to a separate tab because I need you to know something because this is. It doesn't matter. Watch this. Here, let me show you something here. Because there has been funding to make sure that online gets pushed, especially on the community notes, which is what that just got checked on, to push propaganda. Now, let me show you this because you need to see it. 1 second here. I got a lot of stuff. Where is this girl's thing at? Somebody posted about this just this morning. I cannot remember her name. I feel kind of bad. I don't remember her name. Well, I don't remember her name, but that's okay. So she posted something about how the Trump administration is funding. Go follow me on X. The Trump administration is funding rather, this online thing where like the community notes and everything on X, they're using X to kind of perpetuate, propaganda that is positive for the Trump administration. So just take that with a grain of salt. So we also have the shooter seen here in an IDF sweatshirt. I'm sure you guys have seen that. It has since been removed. An hour before the alleged gunshot, a huge MAGA slop account and press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, tells us that there will be shots fired. Yeah, she did say that. Then it releases perfectly timed footage of Erica being rushed out with a pray for Erica Kirk sympathy tag. I'm sorry. And pretty much saying, I just want to be home right now. And here's the big one here. Henry Martinez published at NASA in 2014, the same year that the Cole Allen. Hold on here. All right. So Cole Allen, he worked at NASA or Lockheed Martin. No, I'm sorry. Henry Martinez is this X account that tweeted Cole Allen's name in 2023. And we're going to get into that X account. I'm sure you guys have seen it. But have you seen that there's a Henry Martinez that published at NASA in 2014, the same year that Cole Allen in the White House Correspondents' Dinner interned at JPL and NASA? So, okay, if you're not following, the shooter interned at NASA. He worked at JPL and interned there for a little bit. That same year, Henry Martinez published a paper at NASA. Okay, and we're going to look at that. So there's an odd crossover. And then the name of this X account that posted Cole Allen's name is Henry Martinez. So let's look at the oddities that have to do with Henry Martinez when we're talking about NASA and see what kind of correlation we can make with this Cole Allen character that seemed to be used on purpose. So crazy, guys. This is insane. So we have Martinez, Lockheed Martin Space Systems, Denver, Colorado, United States is the author of this at the Goddard Space Flight Center of this conference paper for Lockheed Martin. Let's see what it is. So we got Cole Allen on December 21st, 2023 was posted at 9:07 p.m. So then we got this is the weird part here, guys. Now let's look at everything. Now 3/26. That's an odd date if you were to look at that as a date, and I'll show you why in a minute. This shit gets very weird, okay? I've been making weird connections. I'm probably crazy. Okay, so then of course you have this tuxedo frog, Kekius Maximus style frog, which is known in the meme wars, which we know has been used in QAnon, the right wing pushing of this MAGA, all this rhetoric, right? That we know Steve Bannon, the traditionalist, the whole thing, right? We've been talking about this recently, and we'll get more into it later. So look at this colored picture up top. I'm sure you may have seen that somehow they have a picture of the shooting before it happened, which is, I'm referring to Butler Hill. Let's see if I can find that. So we have this here with that up here, this colorful cover art that they have. Let me see if I can find the time machine. Henry Martinez. So Henry Martinez is the account. That photo. Now, this is where it gets really weird, okay? Check this out. Cole Allen interned at NASA in 2014. The same year, NASA paper with Henry Martinez as an author came out. December 2023, an X account called Henry Martinez posts one single tweet, Cole Allen. The banner is a screenshot of the EU time machine project. Let's look at what that is. This gets crazy, guys. Let's look at what this is. The EU time machine project photo, I guess it would be. What are they talking about? Oh, Time Machine Europe. Huh. Oh, okay. So this is the... Don't worry about it. It's a website, I guess. But we're going to get to the bottom of it here. So the banner is this photo here. Now let's look at that. This was... Now, somebody decided... I don't know who thought to do this. But the photo of Trump getting shot in the ear, the whole thing, the iconic photo, is being covered up by this rainbow image that comes from a website, and the website is called Time Machine. Okay? And so when we're talking about JPL, and we know that John G. Trump received Tesla's equipment and gave it over to JPL Laboratories, and if Tesla had involvement with time machines, maybe, they're perpetuating conspiracies, guys. It's being perpetuated on purpose. But let's just follow the line of thought here. So we have Baron Trump, the adventures of Baron Trump, the last president, where it seems like Baron Trump is a little time traveler. He has a mentor named Don. And of course, Trump is like a part of that somewhere. I forgot how. And then, the last president, written by the same person, talks about essentially, it's almost like a prophetic thing that kind of describes Trump's administration. This person who wrote this book was friends with Mark Twain, who was friends with Nikola Tesla. So we have a third party kind of adjacent friend who's writing about Time Machine and this Trump guy. And then we know that JPL Laboratories, we have Scientologists, L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons, do the Babylon workings, which we've talked about a lot. One angle we take with that story that most don't is that they found the whore of Babylon that they were trying to get. They weren't trying to impregnate. They impregnated the whore of Babylon, they believed, to bring the moon child in. The moon child was not born of that woman, though, I believe. I believe it was born of Trump. Trump was born 3 months later on a blood moon eclipse. And when you look at his dad, and his dad's middle name was Christ, Trump, of course, is very, with the tarot cards and everything that we've been seeing. So anyway, point being, he's the moon child, in my opinion. The one who's here to, who was the moon child? Let's look into that. Who was the moon child in the Babylon workings? Babylon is a goddess in the occult system of Thelema, often associated with the Scarlet Woman and the divine feminine. So we have the lady now with Chris Bledsoe. She is believed to embody the female sexual impulse and is linked to the archetypical feminine and various magical practices. The Babylon working, performed by Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard in 1946, aimed to manifest an incarnation of Babylon known as the Moon Child to embody the forces of the archetypical divine feminine. This ritual involved complex ceremonial practices. Now, again, there is an odd thing with this moon child. Now, what was the moon child supposed to usher in? I wish that we could get a good breakdown of that. A supernatural offspring. Here we go. So the moon child. Let's find it here. Hold on. Moon child. Is it one word? Okay, the moon child. Here we go. The aim of the Babylon workings was first to identify a female partner who would serve as his partner in esoteric sexual rituals. The partner would then become the vessel for the magical child, or the moon child, the supernatural offspring that would be the embodiment of ultimate power. Here we go. The ultimate goal of these operations carried out during February and March 1946 was to give birth to the magical being or moonchild described in Aleister Crowley's works using the powerful energy of 6-degree sex magic. I'm sorry, that's 9-degree sex magic. The rites were intended to open a door through which the goddess Babylon herself might appear in human form. Now, again, if Trump was to embody all of the power, which is what he seems to be doing, well, the lady is getting talked about a lot through Chris Bledsoe after this war with Iran, right? So it seems like his war with Iran is ushering in this lady concept through Chris Bledsoe. Am I wrong? So there is odd correlation with my theory, even though it's off to the teachings that they say. Now, again, earlier I saw that it was 326 was the amount of followers that Henry Martinez had. If we look at this patent, what year was this? I believe it was March 26, 2020 that this patent came out. Okay? Let's see here. Almost positive. Is there a date on here? This is the 666 patent, the Microsoft patent. We've talked about it before. I was actually unaware, or I forgot that this was the same patent that I had heard about years ago when we talked about it weeks ago. The idea of Bitcoin being able to track your movement data and then send you money if you meet the conditions of the Bitcoin, right? This came out March 26, 2020. Yes, the same year COVID came out. 2 weeks after COVID, we have this come out. So this filing was, 326, here it is. Here it is, guys. I found it. Publication date. So we have the publication date right here. March 26, 2020. So this came out 2 weeks after COVID starts. On my birthday, coincidentally. On my fucking birthday, guys. I mean, what is the odds, right? I meant to find this, obviously. So we have, we've talked about this before, but we have this right here. So very, very crazy. Super crazy. And speaking of Bill Gates has involvement with this. And so this traces back to Epstein. Epstein and Bill Gates both had involvement whenever it came to this. They both were funding this type of technology, this idea of merging technology with your biological sensors and things like that. So this is going to lead in from the ballroom, this idea of this digital temple. We're kind of segueing from that right here into all this talk about everything we talk about on the show becoming kind of mainstream, right? Smart dust, biometrics, this right here, the idea of cells matching your, the cryptocurrency. So the point of the ballroom is to usher in the digital temple. The point of the false flag with Cole Allen and all this weird time machine stuff is to perpetuate this conspiratorial nonsense, probably to get you believe in this reverse engineered craft. So you'll believe in this new age, Luciferian doctrine that's going to be ushered in, along with this technocratic, which is what they want, control system. So let's just real quick. You will be awarded cryptocurrency, the user, whose body activity data is verified. So again, now we're back to the biometric verifications. So here we are. A lot to throw at you here. It's the 060606 patent. 666 patent, guys. You can't make this shit up. So when we're talking about this Project Lucid here, okay? I'll pull my share screen off so you can see what I'm holding. When you talk about this right here, dude, Project Lucid, he mentions that there has to be 666 involved somewhere with this system, okay? And here we are. It says on the literal digital currency that you have to, track your movement data. That's everything it says here. The Beast 666 Universal Human Control System has been designed. This show is out on the free feed today, guys. So if you haven't heard this yet, me and Ben went into this 2.5-hour show, going into this book, describing exactly what this is. So you need that for the context when we're talking about this topic right now. just so you know. So this universal human control system, B666 system, has been designed and is being implemented in America throughout the world. We know this. We're talking about it now. Consider the unbelievable magnitude and dimensions. It mandates every adult, child, and even newborn babies to be issued a universal biometrics ID card, a smart card, microchips, with the reprogrammable ID in it, all that. So, that it gets into this big brother computer database of unparalleled invasive power that is Palantir, data centers, Oracle, millions of bureaucrats employed by a hidden SS Gestapo establishment will constantly feed this electronic beast with more and more data. So we're entering into the coup that I spoke about earlier. So this is some insane shit, guys. Before we segue into the next part, I just want to thank Alquium. Thank you so much. She shout out Alquium, trying to throw down here. Emailed me Markel episode. Check it out. Thank you, Netrunner. I'll check that out. Should I check it out now? I got a dude exclamation point from Chris. Right on, man. We're out here grinding, dude. I mean, this shit is getting crazy. And you know what? I'm starting to understand the full picture a little bit better, I feel like, just a little bit. And I'm able to talk to you guys about it in a sense where it's like, okay, let's get this shit out, right? So, point being, they're building it. And so now let's talk about the foundations that are now being exposed on a broad scale. All these patents that are coming out that we've been speaking about for at least a year now are now coming out, and they're being rolled out on X and rolled out on social media. So let's check that out. Oops. Let's check this out. United States patent. A Wells Fargo patented smart dust for biometric surveillance and payments. So this, now again, what did I say about the, let's go back to this because we could cross-reference here. The patent says a server, hold on here. A sensor communicatively coupled to a comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. So here we go. Body activity data that is generated based on the sensed from the sensors body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system, aka the beast system, aka our controllers, the elite, say what you got to do, the conditions you have to meet in order to get that money. And then they award you the cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. So not only do you have to do what they say, you also have to be verified. Isn't that where they get you? This is dark shit. So tiny now, and they're exposing it, which means that we're here, guys. Okay, we don't enter mainstream shit like this where everybody's talking about it. Now, this was granted in 2022. We talked about it last year. Smart dust for biometric surveillance and payments. They're tiny airborne MEMS devices. We talked about this, MEMS, aka smart dust that swarm around you, read your biometrics in real time, heart rate, body temp, voice, motion, and even capture images. If you guys haven't heard of this, go back into the archives sometime and look up Smart Dust, 6G Agenda, and you check out our episode about this. And then after that, check out the episode about neural warfare, Dr. James Giordano, where he speaks about how we can use nano dust, nanobots, disperse them, and control people with them for warfare. That is like mind wars that has been hardwired into physical devices. Like that's why I'm getting into that with William Ramsey right now as well. We're going to continue our mind wars breakdown on Monday. Hope you guys can check it out. So anyway, no phone card, just invisible dust in the air, knowing that it's you. They patented microscopic sensors that will float around. Remember, this is the idea of building a digital twin. The biodigital convergence needs a sentient world simulation. So you have to create a world simulation that is sentient with AI, quantum computing, put the sensors all over the world, you create a digital twin of everything, whether it's people, place, or thing, and then you manipulate it, right? And then you have this idea of like predictive policing that comes with that and everything else. So these sensors make that happen. This is not dystopian fiction, by the way. And they say this here. And as I say this, think in my head, it sounds so crazy, but it's real. The patented Microsoft, it's an official U.S. patent assigned to one of the biggest banks in America. What happens when this tech escapes the payment use case? Exactly. It's going to be used for a lot more. Behavioral tracking, invisible constant monitoring, integration with 5 and 6G networks and 7G mesh system eventually. And then smart cities breathing this in, of course. Smart Dust was originally a military concept. Now it's being prepped for your wallet and who knows what else. They told you this was a conspiracy, but this patent office says otherwise. Now, of course, we went over this patent in the Smart Dust episode, I believe. And if not, here it is. So when you listen to that episode, you could cross-reference. May 26, 2016 was filed. It's a patent document. System and methods to facilitate authenticating a user making a payment using microelectromechanical systems, which is MEMS, i.e. Smart Dust. The MEMS device may have sensors that collect data and transfer it to a base station device. So that would be like your cryptocurrency or your cloud system. The MEMS devices can collect sensor data, including biometric data, and or capture images of people. So this is where you get your digital twin. They can collect sensor data such as audio data, optical data, temperature data, pressure data, motion, and compare it to data associated with a user profile to determine that the person making the payment is the same person associated with the user profile. Now, it sounds like it's just straightforward with payment to payment, from user to user rather, but clearly here we could tell that it could do a lot more when you're talking about optical, temperature, pressure, sensor, and audio data and motion data with the person. So this person's identity has been confirmed and thus authenticated. See how it sounds very much like the language that we saw in the Microsoft 666 patent? It's the same language. So this is the system behind it. So then, of course, we get into this. 3D graphene oxide nanoparticles for cloud seeding. So graphene oxide, the same stuff that has been in the center of every chemtrail and mRNA discussion for years. They're not hiding it anymore. They're publishing it. This is the flood of atmosphere with graphene oxide nanoparticles. We just talked about this. Geoengineering the transhuman guys. This is all becoming mainstream. And that is because we're entering into the final phase of this system. We're entering in. We're walking through the gates. So you could be remotely influenced, persist in the environment. The graphene oxide can be remotely influenced, persist in the environment, and potentially interact with biology. Now, they gaslight you calling it just water vapor in a conspiracy theory, but the weather modification is on steroids, climate control, and atmospheric engineering. So let's look into this. If they can seed clouds, what else are they seeding? 3D graphene oxide nanoparticles. We looked at this patent as well. So the present invention provides for an ice nucleating particle for cloud seeding and other applications, which can initiate ice nucleation at temperatures. Further, the ice nucleation particle number increased continuously and rapidly with the reducing of temperature. Guys, this is about graphene oxide. So they have been spraying this in the side. 3D graphene oxide, nanoparticles for cloud seeding patent. This was put out in 2022, January 6th. Jesus. Now, look at this. The applicant is the Rockefeller University, right? So we have Rockefeller University. Rockefeller University is an assignee. And an inventor is Jeffrey Friedman and Sarah Stanley. We can't blame the scientist here, but I wonder if, let's see if, Sarah Stanley, were you in the Epstein files? I'm just curious, you know what I mean? I doubt that we'll find her, but, you just got to sometimes cross-reference this stuff. Let's look into this. What's the other guy's name? Jeffrey Friedman. He's probably in there. He's got the right last name. Ooh, how do we spell that? E-I or I-E? I before E, always. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Okay, found him. So Jeffrey Friedman is in the Epstein files. So here we go. You see what we do here? You find names in these patents and you go, okay, what do we got here? So what the fuck is this? The Simon's Post presidential. Okay, so what is this? Setting sail on Gaza's Sea of Spin. Some see a parallel with the Exodus, the ship filled with Jewish refugees that tried to break the British blockades of Palestine in 1947 and help sway world opinion towards Zionism. What the fuck is this? So this doesn't really have anything. Let's look into Jeffrey Friedman because I don't see him in here. Jeffrey Fried. Okay. In 1990. Okay. Whoa. What are we talking about here? The brain must receive signals from the body that indicate its weight and that the brain makes use of the signals to modulate appetite, energy expenditure in order to maintain an individual's weight within a fairly narrow range. The signals. So this is about sex, feeding, aggression, drinking, and regulation of body temperature. They're looking into this idea that these experiments have been replicated in a wide variety of animals. But the model raises one obvious question. How does your hypothalamus know how much you weigh? Let's step back and play for a minute, God for a minute. If you wanted to build this system, how would you do it? So anyway, Jeffrey Friedman and his colleagues at Rockefeller University reported their observations of two strains of mutant mouse, one called obese and the other called DB. Both strains of mice were extremely fat and passed off like eye color. This suggested that obesity in both these obese strains resulted from a mutation in a single gene. Friedman's group was able to track down the mutation. So this guy's involved with, this guy Friedman is involved with, he created graphene oxide and he's involved with genomic studies. Okay. So let's look into what else he's involved here. Let's see here. So this is a breakfast with this guy's name on it. He went there. Jeffrey. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, alrighty. So this is how it goes. You know what I mean? You find these people in here. That's just a little offshoot of what we were talking about here. These people are all involved with the same shit. Okay. Where were we? There's more patents that have been coming out, but we also have this MK Ultra is going to be, we're going to talk about it again. There's going to be a hearing. Anna Paulina Luna is going to hold a hearing in May on the former MK Ultra CIA program. Did not give any insight on what the hearing would entail and has not provided information on the time or location. So she's just doing a publicity stunt at the moment. Publicity stunt at the moment. Crazy, dude. So let me see here, because I was looking into this and I was like, okay, how many times does let me check here. How many times have they had an MK Ultra hearing? They've had a lot of them. And what's funny is every time they have an MK Ultra hearing, the committees are always ran by people who are super sus. So it's a controlled exposure. So you have the Church Committee in 1975. That's the kind of popular one led by Frank Church. Public exposure of CIA mind control experiments, human experimentation with drugs like LSD, and then the use of unwitting subjects. And of course, we have MK Ultra, obviously that's what it is. Rockefeller Commission 1975. So the Rockefellers, that's what I'm getting at. Rockefeller University, you have the Rockefellers funding this graphene oxide, and then you have them also talking about MK Ultra, and now Anna Paulina Luna is. Do you see the pattern here? We know what they want us to know, TNT. That's exactly right. So we had Gerald Ford, of course, that was appointed on that one. CIA domestic operations, and then Frank Olson case, who died after being dosed with LSD. So the MK Ultra relevance, of course, is the CIA drug test on USA citizens without their consent. And then, of course, highlighted there's some lethal consequences that were involved too. So we also have the Pike Committee in 1975 to 76 that covered intelligence abuses across agencies. So this was where kind of like what happened in the Church Committee, but a broader exposure of CIA experimentation programs. And in 77, you had the Senate Subcommittee on Health and Science Research. So this is a big one specifically on MKUltra that not many people talk about. Project MKUltra, the CIA's program of research and behavioral modification, there's 149 sub-projects that the CIA admitted to. The use of universities, hospitals, and prisons. LSD testing on unaware individuals, like we talked about. And the testimony from CIA officials, including Sidney Gottlieb, which was the program director. We talked about Sidney Gottlieb in the Silent Weapons series. Go back and listen to that. But MKUltra files were destroyed. 20,000 financial documents survived, and that was it out of all the documents. And then we had the Committee on Assassinations in 76 to 78. This was when they went into the John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King assassination. This is where you start to get some, Sergey, or the guy who was being programmed, Sergey Brin, things like that. You start to uncover. So this is behavioral control, intelligence agency capabilities were uncovered for like Manchurian candidate operations. So this raised questions about manipulation techniques and covert operations that were going on in America and abroad. So then, of course, we had the follow-up hearing, which was in the 70s and 80s. Just went into the ethical standards in human experimentation, which, by the way, Obama superseded that whenever he signed that as long as there's not a certain amount of level of harm, you can experiment on people without them knowing. Do you believe me? I'll show you. Let's look this up. I can't remember what it was called, the bill's name. Legal to experiment without consent. The FDA's recent rule change allows for the conduct of human experiments without informed consent when the research poses minimal risk. Now, a lot of these technologies, like we know that these electronics pose minimal risk when you're talking about the FDA. That's why we have all of these electronics in our home. So consider that when reading this, and it includes appropriate safeguards to protect the rights, safety, and welfare of human subjects. This change has raised concerns about the potential for researchers to waive informed consent that are required, which are a fundamental aspect of protecting human rights. Now, again, the biggest wrench whenever we're talking about MKUltra was that they couldn't experiment on people without their knowledge, right? So that's the problem here. So what's important? Let's get down here, actually. Here. So in the 90s, there was also something people don't talk much about, an advisory committee on human radiation experiments. This was created by Bill Clinton. Again, these people are doing controlled exposure. That's what's going on. Cold War era human experimentation was exposed. Radiation exposure testing on civilians and military personnel, and lack of informed consent. They pretty much just said, I'm sorry, and kept doing it. People link it to MKUltra because it was a confirmed broad pattern of government experimentation on unwitting subjects that never stopped. It overlapped philosophically with the MKUltra that was exposed. And then it reinforced the MKUltra obviously was not an isolated incident, rather an ongoing thing under many names. So there was a presidential apology in October, and he pretty much just acknowledged it, that there was experiments without consent. And obviously it's connected. So let's get down here and see if I got any others. So the Church Committee, of course, with the chemicals, Rockefeller. So there's a lot of chemical change, like the behavior modification of people through chemical means. And that's been uncovered. I think those chemical means have now been transitioned into technological means. And here we are, Anna Paulina Luna. I wonder if she's going to talk about any of this stuff. So now, before we finish up, we got a few more things to go over here. Biometrics in the vehicles. Did you guys see that by 2027, all new vehicles will have this biometric surveillance camera, AI camera, that will make sure you're fit to drive? See, we talked about this a lot. Here's a Ford patent. Here's one of them. I'll let you, we'll listen to her.
Guys, this is pretty disgusting. The patent is full of Fourth Amendment violations. You're constantly going to be tracked, traced, monitored, and all of your biometric data and personalized information will be stored in a centralized database. We are talking eye scans. We are talking fingerprints. We are talking your voice. They're going to be live camera monitoring you and the other people in your car and sending all of that back to a centralized database, probably the Palantir database, where they are surveilling and storing all of this information. They are going to be using AI to do this. So it's not like there's going to be, humans that maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be completely, completely, like, you don't control it. There's somebody that posted a really good video where it's like making fun of it, where, this guy, there was a tornado coming and he got in the car and his heart rate was elevated, and the system on the truck wouldn't let him drive because his heart rate was elevated. And he said, "There's a tornado, like, let me go." And it wouldn't let him drive. So it's showing that, like, yeah, this is not good. It's not smart. There's all kinds of reasons why this could not go well. So the warrantless spying that we tried talking about for 2 weeks, telling people it's coming, 702, FISA 702, they're going to vote on it again. Contact your reps. They voted it in. It's going for 2 more years. This is about a 10-day lifeline. It's actually going for 2 more years. So here we are, 2029. It's not going to end till then. And yeah, it sucks because it's connected, I believe, to all this. Now, what did somebody say? I wish I saved it. I hope I did. Let me see if I did. Let's see here. Because somebody was saying that they were using it to assassinate people, essentially. Track people, know where they are, get their habits, take them out. So they need that FISA. But who knows? That's speculation. But yeah, pretty crazy. Let's go check the chat out. This is the building of the digital temple. Everything we talked about. We'll look into the children, of course, getting. Oh, Erica Kirk, of course. We got to look at her, talking about what she's talking about. Because, good Lord, did you guys see what she was doing? She is just crazy, man. Oof. Anyway, let's check the chat out real quick. Yeah, stick to old cars, man. That's what I'm going to do. Shout out Jeezy. Thank you, guys. Shout out. Let's see what everybody's talking about in here. What do we got? Cash for Clunkers really effed up the car market, took out over 700,000 reliable cars that could be worked on and fixed in your driveway without a diagnostic machine. Damn. Yeah, dude. Just like the farmers, dude. They're shutting down the farm. We should talk about that. Like the farm, Palantir's new thing with the USDA, U.S. agriculture. They got, a lot going on with the farm system. Maybe we'll do that on a different episode. I think we'll get into some of the farming aspects of what's going on too, because we haven't really talked too much about that. There's a lot going on with that. So let me go ahead and share this. We'll talk about Erica Kirk a little bit. Nobody's getting $10 gas, dude. These people are crazy. You see, they're talking about it's going to be another $5,000 a year to live. I mean, over the course of the next year on the average American. It's insane. So this was about her talking about the correspondence dinner, the White House correspondence dinner. What do we got here? Did you guys see that? I'm sure you guys saw this with her demonized, breathing hard. But here we go. The disdain for Americans she has here. Hold on.
I have every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list.
Oh, boy. Can you believe that she said all this stuff, like, publicly? I mean, it really does seem like this is an operation that she's running where she's trying to make herself out to be a villain. Again, it just plays into this, like, what are they doing? some of the faces we got. I'm trying to find the one that where she speaks about God, I saved the 8-minute, but we aren't going to play the whole 8-minute thing. But she talked about the radicalization of Americans and how their free speech is essentially just a problem. Let's see if I saved down my bookmarks here. Nope, of course not. Am I spelling her name wrong? Yeah, whatever. All right, well, whatever. We all saw the videos, but yeah, I mean, she's just, oof. It's just like, go home, be with your kids. Somebody else was like, "Oh, I would be out there trying to grind for my husband too if he passed away like this." Like, I get it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I get it. I wouldn't be out there doing what she's doing. Let's see what she says here.
It seems to me that nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers.
Dude, they're just placating this whole, like, everybody's a liberal if you're against MAGA, but MAGA is, like, completely against America. So, therefore, if you're not against America, then you're a liberal. And the liberals that are against America, you know, like, I'm lumped in with them now. It's crazy, you know, but this is where we're at, you know, and your free speech on X is going to be cut short. We got Elon Musk hanging out with Ben Shapiro. These people, you know, they just want to crack down, you know, and I was thinking about it. You know, I have a Patreon account, and you guys obviously know that. And it's just crazy because PayPal is how you have to get paid through Patreon. And so I was looking and I was like, all right, well, what's the deal with, does Patreon have like a Peter Thiel connection? And yeah, dude, sure enough, Peter Thiel has invested heavily in Patreon. And it even says that, like, it's ironic that Patreon and Palantir or Peter Thiel have such a close connection because Patreon is known for people that speak out against Peter Thiel's companies. And so it's ironic that, you know, he's so heavily invested in a company that does that. And I'm wondering, okay, well, how long until they say, yeah, we're done letting people talk about what they want? I mean, you have Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. They own everything we speak on. When do they decide that enough's enough? We're done with the free speech. Lock it down. But yeah, that's where we are, dude. So yeah, she has no kids. They were a prop. Exactly, Birdman. You and I are on the same wavelength, dude. Those kids' faces were never shown for a reason. It's comedy. Nobody should be allowed to censor comedy. I agree. Yeah, no. Isn't that ironic? Yo, I'm so glad you said that. It is comedy. And it's funny because she's literally a hypocrite because she's talking about the liberals and how, you know, they're calling us fascists and calling us this, calling us that. But you can't let people make fun of you. Like, what are we talking about here? So you have a double standard, right? Here we are, double standard, just like the liberals have. It's the same thing, just different side. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man? Supreme Being, how you doing? Welcome in. Who else we got in here? Morpheus, what up, dog? The foot dance had of dying, hell yeah. Alchemy, how we doing? Yeah, the foot dance was great with Drewski's a wild boy, dude. Drewski's been hitting it. TNT, what up? She is hollow. She is hollow, man. Freaky, freaky lady. I mean, you know, and she had CIA videos where she's talking about, you know, a EMS attack, a EMP, you know, blast and things like that, causing a blackout. She's been involved with Huachuca and the Romanian. She's sus, dude. She's a deep state actor, you know, to the fullest. So, Megan, yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah, Megan's absent kids too. These people are wild, man. They don't even raise their kids if they do have them. So it really doesn't matter if they're fake or not. But yeah, shout out to everybody, man. I hope that Baal Is Life, Ball Is Life, you know, the ballroom. We are willing to commit false flags to get this ballroom done because it is the command center of the digital temple that is being built, the police state, technocratic police state that's being built, using these, sensors, nanoparticles, graphene oxide, implantables. Oh, how could I forget to connect everything together? My apologies, guys. I feel terrible. Hold on here. How could I forget? 1 second. I'm glad I didn't forget because this is going to wrap it all up right here. So, digital temple, police state, the whole thing, all being brought together. So that way we could, have this new technocratic system. But just to prove what I'm talking about, we've talked about this before, but it just, again, keeps coming back around. Let's see if we can find it. Come on, you motherfuckers. I know I saved this shit. Like, it's like they're getting rid of shit I saved. Let's see if we can find it. 6G acceleration. So, just to connect it all together, President Trump recently ordered the acceleration of 6G deployment with a stated goal of operate implantable technologies. This is the winning the 6G race. We've talked about this on the show. We will continue to. But we'll probably talk more about this in the next one a little bit and other things. But this connects it all together. This is the AI brain chips known as biological interface systems to cortex, BISC. The AI brain chip.
Into somebody's skin.
And again, it's that Project Genesis mission, winning the 6G race, Operation Project Stargate that he did. It all culminates together in this digital temple, ran out of, his temple he's building. The esoteric version of the third temple, the New Jerusalem, which, by the way, the New Jerusalem was inspired. Watch this, guys. I don't even know what this means because I found this today. In DC, what was her name? New Jerusalem was espoused in DC by a woman, Universal. She created a society called the Universal Friendly Society. Something like that. Let me find it. Here we go. The Washington Society of New Jerusalem Church, established in 1846, is a historical congregation in Washington, D.C. that has evolved over the years with its roots going back to 1846 and affiliating with the General Church of the New Jerusalem in 1908. The congregation has a rich history. So the New Jerusalem of 1908. So this is, I believe this comes from the lady that I was talking about, which was an androgynous woman, an androgynous woman that lived in the 1800s. God, let me see if I can find this woman. I can't spell. What was her name? I cannot remember her name. Sorry, guys. I just found all this out today because I was like, okay, well, maybe there's somebody that thought about the New Jerusalem. Here she is. Jemima Wilkinson. She started this public universal friend. Hold on here. She called herself a public universal friend because she didn't want to be called like a woman or anything because she was a androgynous woman. She fought for gender equality by being a transgender, just like today. But this person talked about the New Jerusalem and being like this new in DC. And I think that's very funny when we're talking about the third temple, this esoteric version of the temple being made in DC. Look at her. Androgynous woman. Look at that. Jemima Wilkinson was a Quaker minister and women's rights advocate who lived in 1752 to 1819. She was assigned female at birth, but she experienced a near-death experience in 1776, leading to a transformation where she was reborn as a genderless spirit, now known as a public universal friend. Now, Jemima Wilkinson, was she friends with Washington? Let's see. I don't see anything about it. I was just curious because it's like the same time. Maybe not. But yeah, she was a minister. And yeah, she was an androgynous minister. So that's just weird. She created her own version. And I think that that's what we're looking at here. Again, it's digital temple. So hope you guys enjoyed all that. JPL Labs, time travel, the shooter. Baal is life, Baal is life. The ballroom must be built because we must have that digital temple and it must be ran, you know, with Palantir. It must be ran the way that they plan. Propaganda runs deep. It goes long. Shout out everybody. Shout out Oscar. Welcome, welcome. I'll see y'all later, man. This weekend I'll hop back on here. We'll talk about some more stuff. So thank you, everybody. You take care. Stay up. And yeah, maybe we'll talk about plasma, a little bit more plasma stuff over the weekend. And maybe entropy as well. And see where we go from there. We got to get the Mystery Babylon series revamped. Bill Cooper. We're starting on that like next week. So be on the lookout for that after we finish Mind Wars from William Ramsey. We'll see you guys later. Thank you very much. Lot to digest. I agree, Alchem. I apologize. This is what's been running through my mind for the past couple of days. So hopefully it all makes sense. Listen back to it again if you need to. Thanks, everybody. See you later.